Hi everyone and welcome to my review of Doctor No, the first in the Bond franchise. As my next project for YouTube, I'll be rewatching and reviewing all of the Bonds in the franchise, and then at the end we'll do a ranking worst to best. So first of all, obviously Doctor No is the first one, 1962. Terence Young directs, and obviously Sean Connery as James Bond. And this is a one that I suppose I didn't watch too much as a kid, so I couldn't remember a lot of it when going in. And I was looking online first of all about how people would rank the Bonds, and not a lot of people talk too much about Doctor No. It's kind of, like it's been done better afterwards and since, but I was quite surprised actually just how good this was. I remembered how good this was when I rewatched it, and it just shows how good Bond was really from the very beginning. So we'll start with the opening credits, of course. It's an iconic, the iconic Bond theme by John Barry, and the credits themselves. It's simple graphic design, but it's done so well, and the timing of it with the music, the colours used, it's just really eye-popping. Over the course of the first 20-30 minutes maybe, we're introduced to a lot of the famous characters. Moneypenny, Q's in there as well, but it's a completely different actor. And it's just gradually introduces the plot, and Bond's been kind of sent to investigate the death of a fellow agent, mysterious death, and you hear about Doctor No and what's there's mystery surrounding that, and of course the Bond intro, the named Bond, James Bond. It's such a good scene, so iconic. Sean Connery, of course. For me, Sean Connery is the best Bond. He captures everything about the character perfectly. He's smooth, he's charming, also ruthless, of course, when he needs to be. But I think as well, with all them things, Connery is probably the best actor out of all the James Bond actors that have played him. And for me, definitely, Daniel Craig sometimes comes close, but for me Sean Connery is the best, and in this film he is he's so good in this film, and of course you've got other performances in the film that are also really good. You've got Ursula Andress, the Bond girl, and of course the iconic the scene where she's introduced coming out of the sea. What I didn't remember actually is that Bond sings in this one. And it's in that scene when he first sees her under the mango tree. It's quite funny. It didn't seem actually out of place, but and it was funny. So and you've got Joseph Wiseman, who plays Doctor No, and another notable performance is John Kitzmiller, who plays Quarrel. He's kind of one of the guys that helps Bond out, get onto the island towards the second half of the film. And I thought, the Bond girl was good. I really liked her backstory. She could have been better performance, but I really liked the guy who played Quarrel. And I really like the pace of this film. The plot is mixed, really well with the action, and kind of just the adventure feel of it. Especially the second half when they're on the island, it's a really good sense of adventure, the spirit of the film. I really liked it, in the second half especially. And the way that the plot unfolds is kind of like a classic thriller. Builds and builds towards the final act, where the tension is the highest. That was one of the flaws though for me actually. The final, once he makes it into Doctor No's kind of hideout, it got a bit repetitive, and the final reveal of Doctor No was a bit disappointing. I didn't think Joseph Wiseman was great in the film. I thought it was a bit bland, and considering how much the character was built up, I thought overall the villain was disappointing. Didn't affect the film too much because he was only in it really at the end, but I would have expected I expected him to be better basically. But one of the things I really loved about this film is just how grounded it was. It was before some of the over-the-top Bonds. It was more believable. They didn't use They didn't focus on the gadgets over the story, the plot, and the characters as much. This was more like a grounded, a classic thriller. So in that sense, it was believable. Everything you saw, really, you kind of believed. The action in this film, I thought, was really good. Of course, it's been bettered in some of the Bonds, but I just thought it was really well choreographed, and the cinematography was really good in this film, and the music as well, of course, just used at just the right points, to establish the character of Bond throughout the film. And overall, I feel this is still an underrated Bond, and 7.3 on IMDb. It's a bit low. Overall, I just really enjoyed this film. The action was great. Sean Connery, of course, gives a great performance. A really good supporting cast, and just a great mix of humour, action, and thrills throughout the film. Really, apart from the, as I say, the ending sort of third, there was some elements of disappointment there. But overall, I think this is a great film, and definitely one of the better Bonds in the franchise. So overall, I think this is probably a 95%. Wasn't quite a masterpiece like I say some of the Bonds are, and it had some room for improvement in terms of the script, and of course the villain and the final third was slightly disappointing, but I still think this is a classic, and definitely one I'm going to revisit again and again in the future. So, thanks for watching my review. The next will be From Russia with Love, of course. Thanks for that.